Hello Sagittarius, Sun, Moon and Rising. These are your love messages for July. And the very first card that we have coming up for you as your underlying energy is the Three of Cups. Now the Three of Cups is a very platonic energy. It talks about support networks, groups of friends, the people that we support and that support us, people that we love and that love us. Can sometimes talk about socializing and just being around people, but I find this more a kind of emotionally nurturing card. It's more about the support networks, and that's at an emotional level. I feel with the Three of Cups coming up here as an underlying energy that you're being asked to look at and to remind yourself of where you get your emotional stability from. Sounds like a weird thing to say, but that's the kind of message I'm getting from this. This is very much about what has you emotionally grounded. Threes are usually about action as well, the action that we take, the changes that we initiate to get to the next level. Cups are going to be an emotional level. So that's a kind of strange energy to kind of incorporate, because our emotional well-being, our emotional stuff, that's all kind of internal, right? But we see three people here. So this may be you kind of getting involved in groups or in communities with other people. I'm going to be really honest with you, and I said this to Scorpio, whose reading I did just before yours. There's some very kind of strange energies coming through. Astrologically, there are transits going on that are causing us to kind of look within, and some people are kind of feeling pressure, or, there's a lot going on right now. But the readings have been very positive. And I feel like the message that keeps coming through is to kind of show us where we can find hope. Show us where we can find the stability. Show us where we can ground ourselves and reach out and make the changes that need to be made to go with this energy and to make the most of it. So if this wasn't a love life reading, I would say to you Sagittarius at this time that you're getting involved with groups of people, or it could be your friends or your family, but you're taking kind of solace in that to help get you to the next level, to help push you forward. Like your strength lies here. When we get to the present energy, I'll tell you why you need to be reminded of that. But you have the Knight of Swords or the Prince of Swords in this deck, but the Knight of Swords at the heart of your reading. This is a knight who raises his sword and goes forward to do battle for his beliefs and his ideas. Now I say a he, it can be a he or a she, and this may be an air sign energy, which would be Aquarius, Gemini or Libra, but it need not be. It's always the energies of the court card that we look at. And like I say, swords are all about our thoughts, our beliefs, our ideas, and how we communicate them. And this feels like you're fighting for your truth right now. And you're being reminded that you have this Three of Cups. You have a network of support. For some reason, either you've been feeling lonely or you felt like you haven't had that. You're being asked to really connect with that, to remember that you have people that love you, that care about you. It may be that in your love life, you're feeling kind of lonely and like you don't have the support or the love that you want. And so it can be difficult to remain hopeful when we're going through emotions like that, when we're feeling like we're all alone. But with the Knight of Swords, it's kind of telling you that you're all you need really, Sagittarius, that, you can go forward. Whatever you've learned about yourself, whatever you've learned about how you want to be in your love life, whatever your thoughts and beliefs are now about relationships, you can go forward with that and you can make successes and movements in your love life from that. The Knight of Swords, all of the Knights are all about movement, progress, taking action. And I feel like there's going to be this sense to do something, to act in some way. And if you feel doubt, you're being asked to remember that you have that Three of Cups energy, you have that network of support, you have love available to you in your life. The Knight of Swords can be a very spontaneous energy. He's a very fast moving knight. He can go just charging in. And I think somebody else got this as well. Maybe it was Cancer. Somebody else got the Knight of Swords, maybe in the same position as well. But it's about fighting for your truth, but really know what your truth is. With that Three of Cups there, it may be urging you to speak to people that know you really well. Like before you kind of act, speak to someone else, speak to your network of support and just be like, this is what I'm planning on doing, or this is what I think, especially if you're thinking about leaving a relationship or making a decision about a relationship. And trust me, this is a very strange thing for me to say because I'm very much about knowing your own truth, acting from your own truth. And that's something that we all know within us. But I also know that speaking to other people, especially people that know us very well, sometimes it can help us to become clear on an idea, clear on some kind of action that we want to take. Even if they don't agree with us, like just sometimes arguing it out with them or discussing things with them, it helps us to become clearer on what action we want to take. You've got this very kind of emotional energy that's coming up and you're moving out of that. With that Three of Cups as an underlying energy, and the Queen of Cups in the past. Now, some of you may have been dealing with a water sign, which would be Pisces, Cancer, or Scorpio, or someone who's been taking on those energies, or maybe you have. The Queen of Cups is very intuitive. She's very loving, very supportive, very nurturing. But her downfall, if she has a downfall, is that she can sometimes get lost in her emotions. She can sometimes get lost in the fantasy of love and, having this kind of idealized romantic vision. If that's been you, or if you've been dealing with someone like that, that's kind of changing with the Knight of Swords at the heart of your reading. Because the Knight of Swords is all about becoming very clear. Swords are all about becoming very clear about your truth. The sword is actually used to cut away at anything that is not the truth. It's getting clarity in a situation. It's speaking your truth. It's hearing other people's truth. Now, this Queen of Cups energy, like I said, it could be how you've been. You've been getting very in touch with your emotions. You've been seeing signs, messages with the intuition of the Queen of Cups. Well, this is someone that you've been dealing with. Maybe an ex, could be someone that you're in a relationship with now. There's been a very kind of emotional element of what you've been going through. Maybe you've been called to have a lot of compassion in a situation, or, you've needed your partner or someone else to have compassion for you. Now, I'm going to come back to that top row in just a moment. I want to talk about the card that's in the present, which is the Seven of Cups. Now, the energy that comes up here, I always say it's the main energy for this period, but the energies play out differently for everyone. Tarot timings are very strange. Sometimes we go with the energy, sometimes we resist the energies. Our free will, other people's free will, it can affect the situation. The Seven of Cups, it's this guy, have a look at him. He's presented with these 7 cups and he's having to decide which one he wants, but it doesn't look like he's picking one. He's just looking at them. Now, I'm going to say this, and this is not going to apply to everyone, but to a few of you, and I feel like I have to say it because it's kind of showing itself to me. With the 7 of Cups there in the present, with the 3 of Cups there as an underlying energy, some of you are going to have to decide between 2 or more people. Some people it could be more, because there's 7 of Cups. There are 7 cups there, but with the 3 of Cups there, that can be a third party situation. If you've listened to my readings before, I don't really like to go into that because I feel like the energies, they play out whether I say third party situation or not. And the cards will not predict a third party situation. So for those of you that are not in that kind of situation, you're not aware of that kind of situation, that message doesn't apply to you. Because the cards will not predict that. I've never seen that where the cards predict a third party situation. Because that's something that you will find out in your own way, or you will know about that yourself. As always, it's a general reading, so the energies can apply to you or to the person that you're dealing with. But it looks like there's some kind of choice that needs to be made here. Now, it doesn't need to be another person. The third party can be a child. It can be a job. It can be family commitments. It can be a hobby. It can be anything that's presenting itself as a third party within your relationship or within your love life. Maybe you're having to choose between focusing on your career right now and your relationship. This is at a very emotional level though. The 7 of Cups urges you to look at what's going to make you happy. What dreams are worth pursuing and which ones are not. Maybe you're involved with someone who's married or they're with someone else and you've had that dream, you've had that fantasy that they're going to leave their partner or they're going to commit to you fully. And now you're having to become clear about that, are they ever going to? For some of you, the answer might be yes, they might. But that becomes clear now. And maybe that's the truth that you go fighting for as the Knight of Swords. You find out, you have that conversation with that person. For others of you, you might be in a relationship and your partner's spending too much time at work. They may have the sense that, we need the money right now. We have to make sacrifices within the relationship. Does that truth work for you? That's what the Knight of Swords is there to try to ascertain. But you have to try to figure out at an emotional level what works for you. I always say the 7 of Cups is like having 7 doors in front of you. You cannot walk through all 7 doors at the same time. You have to pick one door. And then going through that one door, it actually blocks off the other 6, for now at least. But emotionally, you're at a place where you can do this. Some of you may be thinking, oh no, I don't think I am, but you are. You are. For those of you that are in relationships and even not in a relationship, maybe you're single and you're interested in someone or whatever it is that you have going on in your love life right now, be prepared for someone. If that Knight of Swords is not you, be prepared for someone else to come and ask you what you stand for. What is your truth in your love life? It could be a new person that you meet. It could be the partner that you're with. Could be your work, like they need you to work more. You're going to have to become clear on which dreams are worth pursuing and which ones are not. That's your main message that's coming through here, Sagittarius. It feels like July is a month for making some decisions. And they're going to come from a very emotional place. We don't have a single Wands card in this reading. And that's your energy, your Wands energy. That's fire, that's passion, that's enthusiasm. Usually those things are what get you through. What's exciting? Where does your passion lie? Where's your creativity? It just feels like you're not able to do that right now. It's more looking at your emotions, how you feel about things, and becoming very clear about that and acting from a very logical place on how to deal with this. I'm trying to come up with more scenarios to kind of give it, because this can play out very differently for very many of you. And like I said, I don't want you to think if you're in a relationship that, or if you're interested in someone, that there is a third party, that there's another person there. It doesn't necessarily mean that. And if you're not aware of that, then that's not the message for you. But what is the message here is that you have to decide something, especially with that Seven of Cups in the present. This is about where we look at what are just fantasies, what are just, castles in the sky. Have you been holding out for someone? Have you been waiting for someone? Have you been waiting for an ex to come back? Have you tried to offer your love to someone, but, they haven't really responded in the way that you want to? Are you in a relationship that hasn't been working for a while, but now you're becoming clear on that? Have you been single for a while and now you're really thinking about why you're single? Do you need to be single? Are there other reasons that you're single? Like you're afraid to give your love to someone else? The Knight of Swords is all about the truth, like I keep saying, but it can be a difficult truth sometimes to take. That Knight doesn't have the finesse of the Queen of Swords or the King of Swords. And he's aggressive and he goes charging into battle. So some of you, that battle would be with yourselves when you're having to acknowledge your own truths. For others of you, it's going to be getting that truth from someone else or someone demanding that truth from you. But this ultimately leads to a really great place because you have the Six of Pentacles coming up as a future energy. That's sometimes called the Charity card, which I don't really like for this card because that kind of makes it sound like someone's doing someone a favor. And that's not the case here. This is a card of give and take, of equal giving and receiving. Now, at first glance, we look at this card and there's an old man giving coins away to this couple that are sat on the floor who are gratefully receiving what he gives them. And yeah, it looks like charity, like he's doing them a favor. So it looks like a one-way street, that he's giving and they're receiving. But they are also giving and he is also receiving. They are giving him the opportunity to do something good with his money, to have that sense of doing something nice for someone else, for feeling good about himself. They are giving him that opportunity and he receives that from them. So what all of that, the Three of Cups, the Knight of Swords, the Queen of Cups, the Seven of Cups, what all of that is leading to is a place of balance, of stability, of equal giving and receiving. I feel like some of you, and this is just kind of channeled and coming through, but some of you have been putting up with someone else's, their like emotional tantrums. And it might not be their fault. Maybe they have something huge going on in their life. They're at a very emotional place. They need that support. You've had to give that support to someone, or you've been like an emotional crutch for someone. But with that Six of Pentacles coming up in the future, either that changes, either that person kind of sorts themselves out emotionally, or you decide that you don't want that anymore, that you want to be in a more balanced relationship. And there's no judgment there. We all have to individually decide what makes us happy and what we can endure and what our own truth is. Seven of Cups and the Knight of Swords, they say that very clearly. So it may not have been you that's been on this kind of emotional kind of journey that's been going on. It could be someone else. And you've helped them, but you've got to a place now where you're like, I don't know if I can do this anymore. Either because you're just tapped out and you don't have the resources to give anymore, or you don't feel like you're helping, like it's not really going anywhere. That's not to say that you break up with people. And for some of you, especially if you're completely single, this may not even be a partner. This may be someone that's your friend, someone that you kind of have feelings for, and you've been trying to help them because obviously you care about them. So you're trying to help them. You're trying to help them through a difficult time. But now it's about becoming clear. Where is this going? What are you giving? What are you receiving from this? But like I said, it works both ways. So somebody may feel this way about you, Sagittarius. I don't want people to be afraid that, relationships are going to end or people are going to leave them, because I'm not seeing that. But then one thing I have noticed in all the readings, they've been very personal, very much about our inner transformation, our inner world, even like where we are internally, what we're doing right now. And we're being forced to really look at that. The fact that we have cards like the Knight of Swords coming up show how committed people are to finding their truth, finding their power now. I mean, he's powerful. Look at him. He's amazing. Stand firm in your truth and go from that. With that Six of Pentacles there, even if you have a situation with someone where there has been an imbalance, where one person's needed to support the other, and that happens sometimes, even in friendships, even in family situations. You know, sometimes one person takes the lead and then other times the other person has to. But there's a balancing out of that, and I feel like that's important, especially as we have the King of Pentacles coming up in the crowning energy. The crowning energy is the advice card. It's how do you manifest the things that you want? How do you achieve your goals, your aims, your ambitions? The King of Pentacles is very grounded, very grounded. For some of you, this is going to be understanding that you can work, you can give equal focus to your work, to what you're trying to achieve in your career, and still be there for a partner and still have a love life. And the reason I say that is the Queen of Cups is sat above the King of Pentacles, and you have the Six of Pentacles coming up as a future energy. So that is very much saying to you here that you can do both. I know it doesn't feel like it sometimes, you know, it can be overwhelming. It feels like you have all these 7 cups in front of you and you're like, I don't know what to do. There's too many choices. Everything looks the same. Everything's overwhelming me. I mean, that's usually the 10 of Wands kind of energy, but that is not that. This is more from an emotional place, how you're feeling emotionally. But you're going to be grounded, especially if that King of Pentacles is your energy. If it's not your energy, if this is someone that you're dealing with, then there may be an earth sign, which would be Taurus, Virgo, or Capricorn. And especially if that person has been this kind of Queen of Cups energy in the past, there's been a lot of kind of emotional turmoil. It feels like whoever that person is, if those two are the same kind of energies, they go from being this very kind of emotional, having to deal with a lot of emotional stuff, to being more grounded. King of Pentacles is very hardworking, and this can, even if it's got nothing to do with career and work, this can be being grounded within a relationship, within your love life. Not being so overwhelmed with the emotional stuff, being more grounded, knowing how to achieve what you want to achieve. That's what the King of Pentacles does. He's very successful. He knows what work to do and he's willing to do it to get what he wants. Now, the other thing, especially energetically, if we look at this, if we're dealing with all that kind of emotional stuff, 3 of Cups, Queen of Cups, 7 of Cups, and then that's moving to this more kind of Pentacles, earthy, grounded energy, that can also speak of something that's only there in the emotional, or has only been there in the emotional, like a crush on someone or feelings for someone, things that you haven't said. And they go from being from that very emotional realm to the earthly realm, which is manifest, which is reality. Pentacles are all about those things that we can see, we can feel, we can touch. So that's going to be a relationship. That's going to be the things that we are feeling, or, you know, that we desire. They now become manifest for us in reality. But that only happens through the Knight of Swords energy, which is the truth, which is fighting for your truth, speaking your truth, dealing with the truth. And that's, if that's not you, like I keep saying, sorry, it's someone else's energy. Now, what's the advice for you from your oracle cards? Well, the very first card that we have coming up for you from the Romance Angels is very soon. Clearly decide what you want so that it comes to you now. 7 of Cups. 7 of Cups is decide what you want. Which cup do you want? I mean, look at this guy. I don't know if you can see it very clearly because I haven't done the zoom ins this time. I'm sorry about that. I explain it at the end of the video why I couldn't do that this time. But he has his hands by his side. Like, he's not even reaching out for anything. But all he has to do, he can reach out and grab one of those cups. So it's telling you it's there for you, whatever you want in your relationship, whatever kind of relationship you want. It's there for the taking, but it feels like you've kind of been lost in the emotional aspect of it. That's a very positive card, the very soon card. It tells you that, you know, it's within reach. Whatever it is that you want, it's within reach. But what do you want? The 7 of Cups is saying decide what you want. Maybe the advice from the Whispers of Love Oracle deck will help you to get there. And it's number 46, spend some quality time together. It's imperative that we spend quality time with those we are in significant relationships with, listening and talking to each other. That is the 3 of Cups. Maybe you don't know yet. Maybe you're not sure where you want a relationship to go, or you're not even sure how you want to progress in your love life. That you've wanted something for so long with that Queen of Cups, 7 of Cups. That's this kind of dream that you've had, this desire that you've had, emotional desire. What is it now that you want? Maybe that's changing. Maybe you're not clear on that anymore. Spending time with loved ones, with the 3 of Cups, that's friends and family. That could help clear that for you. That could clarify for that for you, rather. If you're in a relationship and you're not sure how that's been going, maybe the 2 of you need to spend time together. For those of you that had like feelings for a friend, spend time with your friend. I'm not getting the sense of like, you know, being stuck in your own head and all of this kind of stuff going on. It's not that. Like, there's no 8 of Swords here. There's no 9 of Swords here. There's none of that kind of energy. This is more about You're feeling something, you're not quite sure what you're feeling, but the Knight of Swords is urging you to get clear on that and then logically take steps to make that happen. And Pentacles are always about the things that are really there in our life, the things that we value, the things that we can see, the tangible things. Usually they represent like money, investments, houses, jobs, like, you know, those very real things. But this is your love life reading, and it feels like something gets taken. That's kind of like the main message, like however it applies to you guys. It's a general reading, so everyone's got their own situation going on. I've tried to cover as many different scenarios as I can, but I want you to really think about this, that the very basic message of your reading is, what are you taking from the emotional that's just been there emotionally? How do you communicate that to turn it into something tangible and real within your life? And it has to be balanced. There has to be give and take here. And you can do it. The Knight of Swords is a very strong card to get in the middle of your reading.